Most people are afraid of one thing more than failure: being alone. The moment a room goes quiet, the phone comes out. The moment a weekend is unplanned, it feels like something is wrong. We call it loneliness, but often it's something else entirely. It's the fear of being alone with our own thoughts. And that fear has a cost. This is the art of being alone, and why the people who master it become harder to shake. First, a distinction that changes everything. Loneliness is the pain of disconnection you didn't choose. Solitude is the peace of disconnection you did. Same empty room, completely different feeling. Psychologists have a name for this: the difference between being alone and feeling alone. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unbearably alone. And you can sit by yourself for hours and feel completely whole. The goal isn't to avoid other people. It's to become someone who doesn't fall apart without them. In 2014, researchers ran a strange experiment. They asked people to sit alone in a room for 15 minutes with nothing to do. No phone, no book, just their thoughts. The only other option was pressing a button to give themselves a mild electric shock. A significant number of people chose the shock. Rather than sit with their own mind, they chose pain. That's how uncomfortable silence has become for most of us. We've filled every quiet moment with noise for so long, we forgot silence was ever safe. But discomfort is not danger. It's often just a sign you're somewhere unfamiliar. Look closely at people who seem unusually steady, and you'll find something in common. They all protect time alone, on purpose. Writers disappear into quiet rooms to hear their own voice clearly. Athletes visualize alone before the noise of competition begins. Even leaders often make their hardest decisions in solitude, not in meetings. Solitude isn't where these people hide from life. It's where they go to hear themselves think. Because a mind that's never alone never learns its own voice. It only learns to echo the people around it. Time alone, used well, tends to teach the same 4 lessons. The first is self-trust. When you make choices with no one watching, you learn your judgment actually works. The second is emotional regulation. Alone, there's no one to perform calm for, so you have to actually find it. The third is creativity. Boredom is often the doorway the best ideas walk through. The fourth is clarity about what you actually want. It's hard to hear your own wants over the noise of everyone else's opinions. Solitude turns the volume down on everyone else, so your own voice can finally be heard. None of this happens by accident. It takes practice, like any skill. Start small, not silent. 10 unplugged minutes a day is enough to begin. Go somewhere on purpose, alone. A solo walk, a solo meal, a solo museum visit. Anywhere you'd normally bring company. Let boredom sit for a while before reaching for a distraction. The itch to scroll usually fades in under 2 minutes. Write down what surfaces. Thoughts you never noticed tend to appear the moment things go quiet. Protect it like an appointment, not an afterthought. What doesn't get scheduled quietly disappears. Here's what changes once solitude stops feeling like a threat. You stop needing constant company to feel okay. You stop making decisions just to avoid an uncomfortable silence. You start noticing when a room, or a relationship, or a habit doesn't actually fit you, because you've spent enough time with yourself to know the difference. That's the quiet strength solitude builds. Not isolation, not avoidance, just the steady, unshakable knowledge that you can be your own good company. And once you know that, no room ever never feels empty again. Here's the part that surprises most people. Learning to be alone doesn't push others away. It changes why they're there. When you no longer need someone to complete you, you get to actually choose them. Not out of fear of an empty apartment, not out of fear of a quiet evening. Relationships built on need are fragile. They bend under the weight of one bad night. Relationships built on choice are steady because nothing forces you to stay. People who are comfortable alone also tend to listen better. They're not mentally rehearsing what to say next just to fill the silence. They can sit in a pause without rushing to end it. That kind of presence is rare, and people can feel it. So the irony is this: the better you get at being alone, the better your company becomes to everyone else. You don't need a retreat in the mountains to start. You don't need to quit your job or move to a cabin. You just need one deliberate hour, once a week, with nowhere to be and no one to answer to. Turn the phone face down. Sit somewhere with a view, even a small one. Let your mind wander without steering it anywhere in particular. It will feel strange at first. That's expected, not a warning sign. Stay a little longer than feels comfortable. That's usually where the value shows up. Do this for a month, and something shifts. The silence stops feeling like a void and starts feeling like a room you know how to be in. That's not a small thing. That's the whole art of being alone. History is full of people who used solitude as a tool, not a punishment. Many great thinkers kept long stretches of isolation as part of their actual work, not an escape from it. Some of the most original scientific ideas were shaped in years of quiet, unglamorous solitude. Even musicians and painters often describe their best work arriving in empty rooms, not crowded ones. None of them were antisocial. They simply understood something the rest of us forget. Constant company can be the enemy of original thought. A crowded schedule leaves no space for a new idea to actually land. The pattern repeats across every field. The depth came from the quiet, not in spite of it. That's not a coincidence. That's what solitude is for. There is a line, though, and it's worth naming clearly. Solitude restores you. Withdrawal drains you. Solitude is chosen and has an edge. You know when it ends. Withdrawal creeps in quietly and starts replacing connection altogether. One good test. After time alone, do you feel more ready to face people or less? If solitude leaves you calmer and more yourself, it's working. If it leaves you more anxious about reconnecting, that's worth paying attention to. The goal was never to disappear. It was to come back stronger. Solitude is a visit. It was never meant to be a permanent address. If this helped you see solitude differently, hit like. Share it with someone who needs a little quiet in their life. And subscribe for more on the art of a stronger mind.